With us now, Chris Cillizza, NewsNation contributor, senior advisor of the DGA Group, author of the So What Substack, Batya Ungar Sargon, columnist for the Free Press, author of Second Class, How the Elites Betrayed America's Working Men and Women. Batya, I want to start with you. You are about as strong of a Trump supporter as there has been, and I think that's true because someone who has converted to being a Trump supporter, they tend to be the most rabid or have the strongest held beliefs. But I will ask you, why are you worried about this bill that President Trump is so excited about?
Thank you so much for having me, Leland, on the Farrah Show on television. I'm not a fan of this bill because it does things that the president promised he wouldn't do, and it seems to me to be making the same sorts of compromises that the pre-Trump rhino version of the Republican Party made, namely selling out the working class in order to give tax cuts to the very wealthy.
Does it really do that, though? Do we know that yet in the final version?
Well, we know that they will be removing people from the Medicaid rolls. That is the whole point, right? Is that they think that there are 5 million people who are smoking weed on their mother's couches who they plan to remove from Medicaid, when the truth is there are millions of Americans who are broke, who are working very hard, working 2 jobs. Maybe one is being a handyman in their rural community. Neither job gives them health care, and they're on Medicaid. And what I can't for the life of me understand is why the Make America Healthy Again party, the party that had the great honor of winning the majority of Americans who make under $100,000 a year now, are going to squander this in order to give rich Democrats tax cuts. I don't understand it.
So you don't think this is scare tactics? I have talked to Republicans on both sides of this. They tell me that they think that the Medicaid cuts are people who have a work requirement, so your handyman would still qualify for Medicaid. They also tell me that a lot of those 5 million are illegal aliens. But I think this is the point I'm going to try to make with Cillizza here, which is that it feels to me a little bit like we actually have to pass the bill to understand what's in it and really realize what the effects are going to be, to borrow a phrase. But I think there's the amount of fear by Democrats and sort of fear-mongering, which I think is a real word here, about this many people are going to lose their health care. I look at it differently. You think about what this does for the working class that Batya was talking about. Primarily no taxes on tips, which is going to be enormous for a lot of Americans. That in some ways, that if this bill goes through and does what President Trump and Republicans say it's going to do, Chris, it further cements his support among the working class, and that should terrify Democrats.
Yeah, that's a lot of ifs, Leland. It just is. Look, the reality is we don't know what the final bill will look like. I strongly suspect, to your point, there's this fight, air quotes, going on. And I think there are principled people in the Republican Party who disagree with a lot of that's in this bill. But let's be honest. How often in the last decade of Donald Trump's dominance of the Republican Party and American politics has the Republican Party said, no, we're not going to give Donald Trump what he wants? I mean, if it's more than once, it's a lot. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So this is gonna go through. I don't know the answer on your broader question, because I do think Batya makes this point, like, it's a gigantic bill. I don't just mean in terms of pages. I mean in terms of spending. I mean in terms of impact and implications. So I do think I do think a lot of times with these huge legislation, we don't totally know how it's going to play out with the public. I will remind people, best case scenario for a gigantic bill that was unpopular when it was passed, which this will be unpopular with the broad public, is Obamacare. Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, unpopular when passed. A decade later, 63% of people approve of it. So I just think it's hard, standing so close to the picture, to say this is definitely what's going to happen politically, certainly, but also from a policy perspective.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.